Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about some interesting information that has come out from E3 2019 on Red Dead Online, GTA Online, and also the release gap between future titles like the next Red Dead Redemption game and even GTA 6. And this is all coming from Strauss Zelnick, who is the chairman and CEO of Take-Two Interactive. Now, in case you guys are wondering in that relationship, Take-Two Interactive is the parent company of Rockstar Games. So essentially, Strauss Zelnick is like the mega boss of everyone, and that includes Rockstar. And he did a handful of interviews with a couple of websites and media outlets at E3 that have all been starting to publish. And I think I found all of them that have talked about some really interesting information. He did one with VentureBeat, he did one with GameIndustry.biz, and he also did one with Variety. And they talk about a lot of interesting things. I will leave all of them in the description so that you can check them out for yourself. Some of them were published late last week. Some of them have been published today, which is really cool. And what's neat is he talks about a lot of interesting information, including future releases and more. So let's start with the GameIndustry.biz article first. And one of the things that they talked about with Strauss Zelnick was the amount of time between games, especially Take-Two Interactive games, which includes Rockstar titles. I mean, it was 8 years between the launch of Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. It's been 6 years since the launch of Grand Theft Auto 5 and BioShock Infinite came out. And there's a number of different reasons for these extended waits between major new releases. AAA games like those are bigger and more expensive than ever. And downloadable content and offerings like Grand Theft Auto Online keep developers busy and catalog titles relevant and longer. However, Strauss Zelnick acknowledges that the gap has been growing, and he actually sees that trend coming to an end. He specifically stated, "I don't see it expanding further. In fact, I would expect in many instances it may compress. I think you're right in that our ability to engage with consumers on an ongoing basis has resulted in some less pressure on getting to market with an all-new title. But we find that intersection between the time it takes our creators to do the best work in the industry on the one hand, and what the consumer wants, recognizing that building anticipation is a good thing. And we believe in resting titles as great thing. I was a real outlier 12 years ago when we said we don't think it makes sense to annualize non-sports titles. And now most people would agree. But I think 8 years is probably too long." So that's very interesting. Strauss Zelnick even acknowledges that the 8-year gap between Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 was far too long. Now, he was also asked how that recent trend might end up changing. He said it's possible that games may be a bit shorter than they were in certain instances. It's possible that the ability to deliver content on an ongoing basis for a long time after an initial release of a hit would mean that perhaps that initial release wouldn't be as long in terms of number of hours of gameplay as previously had been demanded in a world where that was all you were getting. So that's interesting. One of the things that Strauss Zelnick says might decrease the gap between, let's say, the next Grand Theft Auto game, GTA 6, might mean it's going to have less hours of gameplay. And I don't know how I feel about that, because that's one of the things I loved about GTA 5, and certainly what I'm loving about Red Dead Redemption 2 is how even 5, 6, 7 months after the game has come out, I can discover new things in the game. And it's just so detailed and so in-depth. So that right there is kind of interesting. However, he still goes on to say that the trend of AAA publishers will be for fewer, bigger, and better titles, which is sort of the mantra we've seen from Rockstar all along. So again, that is very, very interesting that it looks as if Take-Two, the head guy in charge, agrees that it's been way too long since previous games have come out. Now, GamesIndustry.biz also asked Strauss Zelnick what he thought about Microsoft's Project Scarlet and the PlayStation 4 successor in the works at Sony, but unfortunately, he didn't discuss any specific plans. So we don't know if Rockstar's next title will be for that, or what Take-Two in general are going to be doing with those systems. So that is the GamesIndustry.biz article. Again, I will leave a link to that in the description so you can check it out if you want. The next interview we're going to be looking at comes from the website VentureBeat, and there's a lot of things that I'm skipping over in this video. We're just going to get to the nitty-gritty about Rockstar and GTA and Red Dead Redemption. So again, that's why it's important. I'll leave those in the description. But VentureBeat asks, some people in the media try to interpret what Red Dead Redemption 2's development cycle meant, and I'm curious about what you think. Do you think it means every game now has to shoot for this massive amount of content, a massive team working for many years? It seems like the sort of thing that would scare a lot of people out of the business. And Strauss said, I think entry barriers are going up, but I'm not sure anyone, including ourselves, believes that every big release has to have a massive team or more than hundreds hours of gameplay. There's room for any number of different games, from casual smartphone games all the way up to Grand Theft Auto and plenty in between. The commonality that's required is enormous attention to quality. Quality means something different a smartphone title does than a free-to-play PC game in China. And that's different from a huge AAA action release for consoles. And that's different for a free-to-play mid-core game. So that's interesting what he's talking about. In those same interviews, again, he talks about how there might be a shift of adding less gameplay. And I don't know if that's just the focus on multiplayer titles like what we've seen with GTA Online and Red Dead Online, or if that means that, industries like Rockstar, want to make games more frequently, and to do that, they would have to have less content in each one of those games. Interesting to think about. Now, Strauss Zelnick was also asked about the success of Red Dead Online. They asked, how is your satisfaction with Red Dead Online, where it is and where it's going? And he said, it's early days, but I'm happy with what they have. I think the content drops are promising. There's more to come, obviously. I feel good about it, and I think most everyone does. So some pretty generic statements, but he confirms there's obviously going to be more content, which Rockstar have themselves even announced on the newswire. But it's interesting to see what he thinks. He says that a lot of people are happy with it, which I don't know if that's the general consensus. Recently it's been getting a lot better, but there was a long period of time where a lot of people started to question, what Rockstar was doing with Red Dead Online. He was also asked about GTA Online. He says, is GTA Online on a different path or very similar? And Zelnick said, its metrics are on a better path so far, but it's a very different title, as it should be. It'll find its own course. So I think the important thing there is Strauss Zelnick emphasizes that GTA and Red Dead Online are not meant to be the same thing, and that they are completely different. And that obviously makes sense given the era that they're both in, and that they're just different games in general. And the final article we're going to be looking at today comes from Variety. They also interviewed Strauss Zelnick, and their focus was specifically on Red Dead Online versus GTA Online, which is sort of an interesting comparison. But anyways, they asked Strauss Zelnick, is Red Dead Online living up to the expectations you had for it? And he said, it's exciting now. We've come out of beta, and we've had a new content drops, and we're seeing engagement responding accordingly. And we've got much more content to come, so we're very excited. It's early days still. So he keeps bringing up the same thing, that it is still in the early days, which it is true. It's been, less than a year. Think about GTA Online, less than a year out. The content drops we were getting were still very, very similar, like a couple of cars, some articles of clothing. That's sort of similar to what we're seeing in Red Dead Online. But again, he still believes that there's a lot of positives still to come. Now, this next question was interesting. They asked him, do you get any sense that Red Dead Online is impacting GTA Online? And he says there's no cannibalization. If you had 10 massive hits in the marketplace all at the same time, then, and your title number 11, you'd be worried that it's going to be hard to break into that. But to have a couple of hits at any given time, there's still room for more. And this is a less crowded field than it used to be. And certainly if you use the quality rubric, it's way, way, way less crowded. So our goal is to deliver the highest quality titles in the business. More often than not, we're able to achieve that goal. We're always trying harder. We're always embarrassed when we fall short, but more often than not, we do achieve that goal. So we think there's plenty of room for multiplicity of titles, and it really doesn't matter what label is behind two titles, as long as both titles are fantastic. So basically what Strauss Zelnick is saying is, as long as GTA Online is good, people will play that. And as long as Red Dead Online is good, people will play that. And it doesn't seem as if the success of one will have an impact on the other. And the final question we're going to be discussing today, they asked Strauss Zelnick, do you get a sense that people who play GTA Online are different from those who play Red Dead Online? Or do you think that's the same audience? And he says, I think there's plenty to go around. They're very different titles, so my guess is, of course, there's probably some intersection of the audience. And then I suspect there's a whole lot of people who see sort of a gritty crime drama as one creative enterprise and a historical Western adventure as another kind of enterprise. So that's kind of what I've expected. Some people love both. Some people only love one or the other, but that isn't really a big deal to Take-Two Interactive or Rockstar Games. So anyways, those are the interviews that we're going to be going over in this video today that have come out from E3 2019. Again, he discussed a lot how we might be seeing the next Rockstar game sooner rather than later, but it might not necessarily have as much content, and also how Red Dead Online and GTA Online are doing, and sort of their comparison between the two. So as always, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below on everything we discussed today and more. Let me know what you're thinking down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily GTA and Red Dead Redemption 2 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.